Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. So starting this video off with some very big news at long last. Derek Lunsford has received a special invite to this year's Open Olympia, and this news was actually broke first by NPC News Online over on Instagram. Now, as if this Olympia wasn't interesting enough with us having guys like Andrew Jack going to be there, Samson Dowda, Blessing Awodibu, we now have the 212 Olympia champion jumping into this year's Open Olympia. And just for fun, very early predictions, you guys let me know, how do you think Derek Lunsford is going to stack up? You know, is he top 3, top 4? All of the open guys, Derek Lunsford is coming for your lunch money, man. He's trying to win this year's Olympia. Now, in all honesty, very hard to gauge where he could place. Derek Lunsford is a guy that has the potential to win the Mr. Olympia, but how big is he going to be this year? You know, how is he going to stack up next to Nick Walker, all of these guys? Derek Lunsford is definitely going to be in the top 8. But I'm excited to see what you guys are going to say. You know, I don't want to just hype him up too much, say, you know, Derek is going to win. So you guys let me know what you think. Now, switching over to Regan Grimes, who actually broke some big news over on Jay Cutler's Cutlercast. You guys should definitely go subscribe to Jay's podcast channel. Regan actually said he's going to pull out of this year's Olympia. He said he's been competing for 10 years and he thinks this is finally the year he takes one off to put some size on. Now, specifically, Regan said he feels like he needs about 15 more pounds of muscle to be truly competitive. And taking a look at this side chest pose, honestly, any guys that are lacking size, you're really going to see it from the side. You know, Heidi Chupin, you know, Sean Clarita compared to an open guy. Because from the side, you really get to see that thickness from chest to back and just from shoulder to shoulder. But as I've been saying in my recent updates about Regan Grimes, if he doesn't nail it at this year's Olympia, he could very well not place. You know, after 16, they don't even place the guys anymore. So I think it's a great idea that Regan decides to shut it down this year. And hopefully we see a bigger and better version of him next year. And in the next update of the day, we have another big update coming from Michal Krizo. 4 weeks out from the Amateur Olympia, we get to see a full posing video. Now, Krizo in the front double and the front leg, 2 very strong shots for him. Now, as long as he controls his midsection, it is small and tapered, but Krizo does have a tendency to lose control. As we see in this archer pose, waist does look very tight. Now, once we turn from the side, before he even gets into the side chest, as you can see the thickness in the shoulders and the arms, and Krizo definitely should work on his posing as well. I believe the side chest is probably one of his best poses, if not his best pose. Now, when we turn to behind, even before he hits a shot, seems like the legs could come up a little bit more. And I'm just nitpicking, guys, because people do say Krizo can be top 5, you know, top 6 at the Olympia. Now, his back is actually pretty good, but I would like to see just more density, you know, more thickness to the back. Rear leg spread is definitely a better pose in comparison to the back double. I think that will be a very competitive shot for him. But as you guys can see here, Krizo is just losing control of his midsection. And as we all know, these guys are here taking a lot of photos. So it wouldn't be hard to catch him in a bad angle. And next thing you know, Krizo is the talk of the next bubblegut guy. Ab and thighs, incredible shot. I would like to see a little bit more lat. Once again, just nitpicking. And his most muscular is almost lights out. I'm excited to see Krizo at this Amateur Olympia. Don't think he's going to have any problem earning his pro card. Then, once again, he will go into the Prague Pro Show to attempt to earn his qualification for this year's Olympia. And switching over to James Hollingshead, these are the most recent updates from him ahead of this year's Arnold Classic UK. And you guys let me know in the comment section below, you know, can James Hollingshead win this show? Or is Andrew Jack pretty much a lock for winning? And you know it's going to be a fight for second between James, Mark Hector, and James Hollingshead. As I mentioned to you guys initially, I had Martin Fitzwater in a strong second. Martin actually mentioned on a recent podcast he suffered a small tear in his teardrop. So hopefully it doesn't affect him too much at this show. But James is honestly looking better and better. Seems like he isn't going to come in over dieting and flat last year. Personally, I'm excited to see it. I hope we get to see 100% James Hollingshead at this show. And in the next update of the day, this is the most recent update of Blessing Awodibu ahead of this year's Olympia. Just a small quarter turn. Now, I've said before, I believe guys that are more aesthetic and shapely don't look as good in the offseason, such as like mass monster guys like Nick Walker. You know, Nick Walker is going to look better in the offseason than Brandon Currey. Now, Blessing definitely has a lot to prove to himself at this year's Mr. Olympia. Once again, he said there's going to be him, Big Ramy, and Brandon Currey as the top 3. But all jokes aside, I really like Blessing. I think he's going to prove a couple people wrong. I don't think he'll be in the top 3, top 6. But he may be able to shock some people and get into the top 10. I'm not predicting him there, but I mean it's possible. And going over to Dubai, these are the most recent updates of Sergio Oliva Jr. And Sergio said he's really feeling it once again. Hopefully he competes, man. I'm always behind Sergio. He is the son of a legend, a three-time Mr. Olympia. And I believe Sergio just needs to get out his own head. He's one of the best posers in men's open bodybuilding. Great structure. You know, he's a taller guy. Comes in crazy condition when he isn't in his own head. He works with Chris Aceto, amazing coach. One of my favorites, by the way, but Sergio just needs to put on a little bit more size, and if he still brings that conditioning with the posing, he can be one of the best in the sport, definitely. In the next update of the day, these are the most recent updates of Nathan Epler, full-time open bodybuilder now. Now, even though Nathan is adding size, look at the lat insertion, so clean and prominent. I believe he already looks better than what he was looking in the 212 division. But back to what I was saying, even though Nathan is putting on size, he still seems to be maintaining some good condition. Glutes still have striations in them. I'm excited to see this guy compete. Hopefully it's next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes 2 years off. Now, I thought this was very interesting. Roelly Winklaar has actually been down in Brazil, been doing posing training with Lucas Coelho, as well as Gabriel Zancanelli. Also took these guys through a couple workouts as well. No shade against Roelly at all, but in a couple of those posing routines, I do believe that they could have been adjusted a little bit more. Roelly, I think you're a little rusty, man. You might need to work on your posing, but all jokes aside, I'm glad to see that Roelly Winklaar is happy. Doesn't look like we're going to see him compete, but I'm not going to really get into that. Now, switching over to 212, these are the most recent updates of Bryan Balzano ahead of this year's 212 Olympia. He's actually sitting at 230 plus pounds right now. In the caption of this, he actually said, "Should I go to open?" I think in the future, Bryan should potentially go to the open division, but for this year, I say 212 because once he dies down, he'll probably be 218, 220. We'll still need a little bit more size to be truly competitive. Now, switching over to classic physique, we've actually been talking about Currey a lot lately, and this guy is pumped going into this year's Olympia. Classic physique, so competitive, man, but I do want Neil to succeed. Very hard-working guy, finally got his first pro win this year in New York. Switched over from Milos to Ben Chow, and it seems like it's working great for him. Now, sad news in the bodybuilding world. Yesterday, Bill Pearl did pass away. A legend of the sport, so many people looked up to this guy. Now, he was a 5-time Mr. Universe, and as you guys know, I only got into the sport about 2 years ago, so I don't know too much about guys that competed in this era. But just quickly looking over his life, there are two things that really stood out to me personally. After Bill Pearl retired, he actually wrote a book on training that sold over 300,000 copies. This book was translated into 4 different languages, including Chinese. So that just lets me know that at least in 4 different countries around the world, they all were training like Bill Pearl. And also after retiring, he did work with a few athletes. And probably the most notable one was Mr. Olympia Chris Dickerson. May he also rest in peace. Bill Pearl was an incredible bodybuilder. And if you guys have anything you want to add about him, leave it in the comment section below. But rest in peace to this legend of the sport. And ending this video here on my archive of the day, as always, you guys let me know which legendary bodybuilder is this. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.